Yesterday we explained how Nama causes Nama, that is consciousness, causes consciousness, and how Rupa, materiality, causes consciousness or Nama. And because of the presence of the object to be noted, there is the noting mind which notes continuously. When the object fades away or disappears, then noting mind will not be able to note. You will feel empty. However, even if the object fades away or disappears, you are knowing it as fading away or disappearing. So you are knowing it as such. And originally there was the object, and as object arises, you are able to note and know the nature of this object. So when you note every arising object, the noting mind is happening. In this way, this is how Rupa causes Nama, that is materiality, causes consciousness. And we have these three kinds of elements, namely base element, striker element, and ignition element. Out of these three elements, when you are hearing a voice or sound, the base element, which is the ear, and the striker element, which is the sound or the voice, are materialities, Rupa, and the resultant hearing consciousness, ignition element, is the effect, is the Nama, mentality. And this is also an example of how Rupa causes Nama, that is, materiality causes consciousness. And in simple language, because of the presence of ear, there is the hearing consciousness. Because of the presence of sound or voice, there arises the hearing consciousness, otherwise not. So we know that the ear and the sound cause hearing consciousness. So too with other sense impressions, such as seeing consciousness, tasting consciousness, smelling consciousness, and touching consciousness, or physical consciousness. These are examples of how Rupa causes Nama, that is materiality, causes consciousness. And also, this serves as an example of how relevant cause gives rise to relevant effect, not otherwise. Because of the ear and the sound or voice, there arises the hearing consciousness, not other consciousness like seeing consciousness or tasting consciousness. And again, because of the eye and the visible object, there arises a seeing consciousness and no other consciousness. And because of the presence of nose and the smell, there is the smelling consciousness and no other consciousness. Because of the tongue and the flavor, there arises the tasting consciousness and not other consciousness. And because of the body and the tangible object, there arises the body consciousness or touching sensations, not other sensations or consciousness. So, in this way, we come to understand the linkage of cause and effect. And if these cause and effect, cause and conditions are fulfilled, no amount of Mahabrahma, Supreme Being, hundreds of them or thousands of them, will not be able to prevent us from seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and so on. And if the cause and conditions are fulfilled, however much, if the cause and conditions are not fulfilled, however much the Supreme Being may wish or may talk command to arouse seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness, and so on, seeing such consciousness will not happen. Because then you know that it is not concerned with the Supreme Being. Originally also, there was no such thing as a Supreme Being. we are just, or some of us are taking what is not existent as existent, what is not present as present. And and there are no such thing as jiva, atta, individual self or soul, in the natural phenomena, in the elements, and there is no such thing as supreme being. If there is no such thing as supreme being, there cannot be its agent, such as the individual self or soul, jiva, atta. So, because there is no such thing as parama atta, jiva atta, supreme being, or individual self or soul, there is no such thing as this. What is existent? What exists are mind and body, nama rupa, all their linkage of cause and effect. And this is quite obvious. And we have to still explain how rupa causes rupa. We shall discuss this today. And this is how to explain how rupa causes rupa. Because of the weather conditions, external weather conditions, heat or cool, body feels hot or cool. When the temperature is cool, then the body will feel cool or cool, especially in cool countries. You may suffer dry skin or chapped skin. And this is how the cold affects the body. Cold causes cool temperature, which is rupa, causes changes in the body, which is also rupa. And by warming, when you feel cold, by warming, you feel comfortable. When you feel cold, you don't feel good. You cannot bear it sometimes. But when you warm yourself, you feel comfortable. And when the weather becomes hot, you sweat. That also is rupa causes rupa. And according to the heat and cool, and on the outside, you feel the heat and cool in your body. That is quite obvious. This is how rupa causes rupa. And in the body there is the temperature or vapor. As the body temperature, sometimes normal, and most of the time is normal, but sometimes it goes above normal, and this temperature is known as tejo. And in this way, the body feels hot, Anapana tejo, ordinary normal temperature. Then when you have fever, taha tejo, fever temperature, high temperature. And then there is that kind of temperature which digests your food in the stomach, pasaka, known as pasaka tejo. So in this way, in the body are various grades of temperature, heat and cold, changing now and again, and such is the condition of the temperature, tejo. And this is how in the body temperature changes one's body. This is how rupa causes rupa. And in the practice of meditation, you will feel such changes of temperature, and you'll be able to note and know it. Also, the ahara, food, affects the body. Food also is a materiality, rupa, and it causes changes in the body. It is quite obvious when you are thirsty or hungry. You feel weak in your body, and you need these essential things like vitamins and nutriments. When you are short of food or drinks, you feel unhealthy and weak. And when you take in these nutriments and essential elements and vitamins, you feel healthy, fresh and strong in your body, such as how rupa causes rupa. When you are hungry, you feel weak, and when you take food, you feel healthy and fresh and strong. So when you are eating, you are bound to if you are mindful, you are bound to see the changes of body as a result of food, ahara. And this is how Rupa causes Rupa. In the body are all kinds of feelings because of unbearable feeling, such as you feel hardness or harshness, like sitting or standing on a rock, you feel uncomfortable. Such also is the linkage of cause and effect. Whereas if you are sitting or standing on a soft or delicate material, you feel comfortable. Such also is the result, is the cause and effect condition. And in this way, due to heat, cold, and other feeling good or bad in the body, you feel good or bad. As a result, you feel comfortable or you feel discomfort, as the case may be. Sometimes in the body are the elements of wind moving about, and you will feel uncomfortable. But when everything is normal, you will feel comfortable. In this way, there is this cause and effect linkage, and you observe it if you are mindful. In the body are some materialities, sensitive parts, such as in the eye. There is the sensitive part which can receive the visible object, or which can see the visible object. And in the ear is a sensitive part which can receive the sound. And so too in the nose, tongue. In this way, respectively, there are the sensitive parts which can receive the objects. It is quite obvious. For instance, eye as a base element, it can receive the striker element. And in the nose also, in the ear as well. In the tongue, it can receive the striker element in the form of taste or flavor. And the body, sensitive part of the body, can feel the tangible object when it comes in contact with this tangible object. In this way, it is quite obvious. And there are other things which are present. And no scientist can find out the reason why these things are located proportionately. And they confess that they cannot find it out. Whereas the Buddha teaches the Dhamma, saying that it was due to the past karma that these sensitive parts are located, and then they are kept alive by means of food, ahara. And this can also be understood by means of conditioned relations, patthana, which is very interesting. And in this way, due to these causes like citta, consciousness, karma, food, the materialities arise. And if you note at the very moment, you are bound to see these natural phenomena. And how with the consciousness, when the mind is in good condition, there is the sensitive eye, ear, and all these sense organs will become very sensitive. And also because of the seasonal conditions, you will become very sensitive. And because of food, by taking food, you will become more and more sensitive, because it supports the sensitivity of your sense organs. In this way, yogis can observe these things at the very moment of happening. For instance, when they note at the very moment of hearing, they will notice that especially at higher insight knowledge, they will come to observe it is the ear which is hearing it. And it is hearing, and you are hearing because of the sensitivity of the ear, because of the sensitive part of the ear. In this way, you observe the natural phenomena in the form of sensitivity of the ear. So this function of the ear is hearing it. So in this way you understand the function of the ear, and then you understand the function of the ear as hearing. So in this way, your ear, with the ear you are hearing it, and you will find that location. You'll be able to observe the location of the ear as receiving the striker element. In this way, this will be observed with the practice of meditation, not through your fantasies or imaginations, only through your own personal experience, and in this way you'll be able to explain this when you are reporting. Before one is able to observe the realities in the body, before one understands the linkage of cause and effect in the body, or before one understands the relevancy of cause and effect in the body, there have been doubts about things. Because one is not understanding correctly, the layers of delusion become very thick, known as moha patala. Delusion about things. If a delusion, 1 moment of delusion per second arises, then in 1 minute there will be 60 layers of delusion in 1 minute, and 3,305 minutes and 3,600 layers in 1 hour, and you are just piling up this kind of layers of delusion daily to months and years, from one life to another. You will go on piling up. That is because of this delusion, moha, known as moha, not being able to come to any definite decision. So now you are able to clarify it, and you can see it clearly. First of all, the discernment of mind and body. You are able to distinguish between mind and body, or understand mind and body. Later, with the practice, you come to understand the linkage of cause and effect, and later the relevancy of the conditionality. Before you knew that, you are being overcome by this intense delusion, samoha, known as samoha vinivesa. Because of wrong perception, there arises wrong belief, and this skeptical doubt is known as vicikiccha. And in this way, the doubts will arise, and this vicikiccha has the characteristic of doubting about anything. Now, with the realization of the conditionality of mind and body, and also their relevancy, you are able to overcome this delusion, because you are seeing things clearly about the cause and effect linkage. You become very clear about it, and there will be no more doubt about it, because you are seeing it correctly. You are cultivating the realities of mind and body. There's no doubt, skeptical doubt. If you are overcome by skeptical doubt, then you are bound to be agitated, become restless, or become afflicted, agitated by this doubt, especially when you have wrong views, and you'll be very much agitated. In respect of one object, you may be just uncertain about it, and you cannot come to a definite decision. You become restless, and that's why you are overcome by this skeptical doubt, which tends to agitate you, make you feel restless. Especially when you have wrong or distorted ideas, you'll be led to believe in wrong faith. So, not coming to a definite decision about an object is called delusion. And now, with the practice of mindfulness, you are seeing the real nature of these objects, such as the cause and condition, and the relevancy of cause and condition, so that there will be no uncertainty, because you are very clear about it. And then sometimes it can happen that when you have some doubts, you'll be trying to reason out from both sides, thinking that the reasoning is your wisdom or prudence, in accordance with the saying, Ubhiya Pekha Sandirana Mukhena Vichikecha Vancheti. Being you are confused between two things, two sides of the story. You are doubtful, cannot come to a decision, thinking that such a reason is your prudence, and especially when it comes to things about one's faith and religion. In this way, seeing wrongly and believing wrongly in respect of the realities of an object, you are said to be agitated, restless, you are said to be wavering and not coming to a definite decision about the nature of the object, the true nature of the object, not seeing, not knowing things in a clear-cut manner, not being able to come to a definite decision. And in this way, it can become manifested in the yogi's mind that the fact of indecision will become manifested in the yogi's mind. And then without real knowledge, you may be believing something, and such kind of belief is known as blind faith. In Pali, it is known as Muddha Pasana or Muddha Pasana. Now with the practice of Satipatthana, you are observing the conditionality of these objects, so you will not believe in the causelessness of any event. You are clear of the doubts. When you are clear about the doubts, there is no doubt in you. That means you have faith and confidence, which is the reverse of skeptical doubt. In this way, you are understanding the relevancy of cause and effect. You come to acceptance of this condition, of this fact, and with knowledge, because knowledge is arising. With the knowledge, you come to acceptance, because you are knowing the truth. You are knowing the truth in respect the true nature of the objects, and you can come to a definite decision. In this way, faith arises, known as Saddha, and faith has the characteristic of believing with knowledge, coming to a decision with knowledge, known as Saddhahana Lakkhana. You come to acceptance. It has the characteristic of acceptance with knowledge, and it has the characteristic of coming to a decision by knowing the conditionality and the relevancy of conditionality. In this way, you come to a definite decision, definite acceptance, such is Saddha, faith and confidence. Previously, you believe in something because of hearsay, and unless you develop this faith and confidence with the practice, you will not be able to uplift it. Now you are uplifting, you are practicing and coming to have instead of faith with your own personal experience, you are said to be uplifting your faith and confidence. First and foremost, you take or accept this conditionality as a possibility by way of literatures from what the books say. Such kind of faith and confidence is said to be awakened faith and confidence. Faith and confidence which has just been awakened. Based on that, with the purity of mind, citta, you come to cultivate knowledge, knowing the discernment of body, mind and body, and the conditionality. And you are able to develop faith and confidence in its own right. First of all, you have faith in some small way, because you know in a small way. You have faith in a small way. Then, as much as you have faith, there will be no skeptical doubt. Instead, you will come to a correct acceptance of the fact. In our language, it is known as yom, that means believing. Hence, this is known as sadadi mauka in Pali, a resolute faith, which is very important. Earlier on, as we have discussed, we may be believing in a blind way. Now, with the practice of meditation, you come to observe the conditionality and the relevancy of conditionality. You come to believe with your own personal knowledge, personal experience, so that although initially you may have wrong faith, or faith in the wrong thing, believing wrongly, now with your own personal experience, you are coming to believe it, so that there will be no wrong belief, no distorted belief. And you'll be able to establish yourself on the real faith and confidence, saddha, so that the mind becomes corrected, cultivated in a systematic way. Such is the essence of Attasammapadidi, conducting or cultivating our mind in the right way with the practice, so that the mind becomes rectified. And the function known as rasa of faith and confidence, saddha, is given as pasarana rasa. That is, it can clarify the associated mental states, such as when you put a substance which can clarify the water. In the old days, they used ruby, a special stone called ruby. And when this is inserted in the water, the sediments will come down and the water will become clear. In this age, we may say we can put some chemicals such as alum to allow the sediments to come down, so that the water will become clear. In this way, saddha has the function of clarifying these associated mental states, just like putting a clarifying chemical into the water to make the sediment settle down at the bottom. In this way, the one is said to clarify the vicikita, skeptical doubt, which is one of the hindrances of progress. Of course, we are not clarifying, overcoming this skeptical doubt to the point of no return. We can do it to the point of no return only when we are able to realize first subramundane path. Just as when you put this chemical into the water, it clarifies the water by allowing the sediments to settle to the bottom, so too, with the practice of meditation, you are, by understanding this conditionality and the relevancy of conditionality, you come to cultivate knowledge, seeing the true nature of objects. With knowledge, you come to acceptance and definite resolution. And such is saddha, being able to clarify this hindrance to progress, so that the mind becomes very clear of this sediment, of this the doubting, skeptical sediment. Hence, this is known as pasarana rasa, the function of faith as clarifying. So earlier on, we have this believing faith. Now, this is clarifying faith. when we combine the two, it becomes clear faith. And this is kind of faith with knowledge. And such are the qualities of faith and confidence by way of natural characteristic and function. That's all for today.